Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Nanny Joanne. So in case you guys missed last week's video, it was 10 red flags that you should look out for when you go on your nanny interview. Today's topic is going to be 8 good signs that you should pay attention to while you're on your interview so that you know that you've landed with the right family. If you like the video that I posted last week, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget that every week on Wednesday, I will be uploading new content relating to nannies and children. So for today's topic, we're going to start with number 1, the presentation. You're driving to your interview and you like what you see so far. Perhaps the drive isn't too far from your home and the neighborhood is nice and clean. You like what you see, clean area, organized. There's happy families walking on the sidewalk. You pull up, the house is not falling apart. The lawn is, well maintained. There's a nice car in the driveway. Even perhaps a higher name brand car such as a Tesla or a Porsche, BMW, something like that. Number 2, the parents are well polished and presentable. So you get to the door. They open up and they welcome you. They are clearly a well put together family. They're not in loungewear, they're not in basketball shorts. They don't look messy or tired or like they had a long night. They are ready to conduct an interview, and so they are dressed accordingly. So while you guys are getting the ball rolling and talking about the interview and what's expected of you, perhaps the routines of the kids, what they do for a living, a couple of topics are going to be addressed. And that's where number 3 comes into. They might tell you, we have our own vehicle that we will be providing, our future nanny, to transport the kids on a daily basis to and from their activities. Perfect. I have been a nanny for quite some time now, and I have not always used the family vehicle. I at times have had to use my own car to transport the kids. Now, there are some downsides to that. First, you use your own gas, you put miles on your car, and odds are your car is going to get dirty, so you have to clean up your car. Now, if they're going to give you gas money and reimburse you, that's great, but not all families do that. So when you're on these interviews, ask these questions and make sure that if you are going to use your own car, perhaps say, okay, so how much driving am I going to be doing? I have a lease or I don't have a lease. Take into consideration how much mileage you're putting, how frequently your car is going to have to get a car wash, and the gas. Number 4, they may provide you with vacation or sick pay or holiday pay. These are great because throughout the year, I think there's about 7 to 8 federal holidays, and that doesn't include like Valentine's Day or these other like non-federal days that you may have to work but are still considered holidays. So if they're going to pay you for those days, great. Are you going to get sick days? Yes. Awesome. How many? 5? Okay, that's cool. Great. Are you going to get bonuses? How about raises? Because that's a tough one. Number 5, do they have good jobs? So in the midst of your conversation, you may ask, okay, so may I ask what you do for a living? Please don't be afraid to ask that, because you need to know if they have a stable job, what they do, and you more or less want to get a feel for who they are, and more importantly, if they make enough money to hire a nanny, because you don't want them to just make it. You want them to be well-off, comfortable people. Now, just because you're conducting interviews doesn't always mean that they can afford you. They just might be able to afford you, but you don't want them to just might be. You want them to be able to afford you and go on their vacations, splurge if they want to. Again, being a nanny, for some, it's not cheap. So make sure that they have enough money to pay you. If you feel like they don't have enough money or they just might pay you, take that into consideration, because it may not be a long-term plan. Number 6, is the position long-term? So when you get there, make sure you take a look at the kids and ask them, all right, so I'm looking for long-term employment. Do you guys need a long-term nanny? If they say yes, awesome, great. I personally say, listen, I need a minimum of 2 years, under my belt, because I don't want to be hopping from job to job every 2 years. So I prefer family that have younger kids, toddlers, babies even, because if they have 8, 9, or 10-year-olds, pretty soon that 10-year-old is going to be able to watch their younger siblings in about 2-3 years. So again, make sure that the job that you're looking for is providing you with long-term employment. Number 7, do they truly need your help? Or are they going to have mommy come in from, the next town over? Or are they going to have their neighbor come and watch the kids? Try to find people who don't really have many family or friends that they can rely on, because guess what? Then they'll end up relying on you. I worked with a family once that the mom, she got sick, okay, and she called me and she told me, hey, I'm sick, I'm feeling under the weather, I don't need you to come in today, my mom is going to come and watch the kids. Mind you, her mom lived in another state, and I'm thinking, I live right up the street, why aren't you calling me? Because they were trying to save some money. Another situation happened to me where mom stayed home from work and she told me, hey, I'm going to be home with the kids, so for this week you won't need to come in. But I did not get paid for that week. So make sure that they actually need you and that they're not going to have outsiders coming and potentially taking away from your hours during the work week. My last sign that you have entered a good family that you may want to work for is, how is the conversation between you and mom and dad going? Are you guys compatible? Are you guys jiving? Are you guys on the same page? How are your personalities? Your personalities click? If so, boom, it's great, because there's nothing worse than you entering a home where you don't agree with some of their techniques, their child rearing policies, or how they run their household. You want to be on the same page so that down the road, there are no misunderstandings and that you aren't feeling like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. Everything I say, they're contradicting. I don't agree with what they're doing or how they're, dealing with timeouts or picky eaters, whatever the case may be. But if you guys are all on the same page, phenomenal. That's great. So just to recap my 8 good signs that you have entered a great family and that you are going to be in a good work environment. It's, presentation. Are the parents polished? Do they provide you with a car that you can use? Are they going to be paying you vacation, sick days, holiday pay? Do they have good jobs? Will they need you long term? Do they actually need you, or do they have others that they may rely on? And are you guys actually compatible with one another? If all of these are a yes, you're on the right track. I hope that when you go on your next interview, you'll be able to recognize some of these great signs that you're going to be entering a positive working environment. Stay tuned for more weekly tips and tricks from yours truly, Nanny Joanne.